What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out 6-Point Survival. Today we are building the Eureka Jade Canyon X6 tent. I do it all by myself, so it is definitely doable. Step one is going to be to roll out the tent, and then this is just a pro tip. You don't have to do this, but I really like to stake it out, as you can see here. When you put the stakes in, put them in at about a 45-degree angle to the ground, so have them leaning back and away from the direction of pull. I'm gonna go back at the end of the video and move these stakes, but this is kind of a way, especially if it's a little bit windy, to stop your tent from flying away as you're trying to put it up. If you have to hammer your stakes in, you don't need to hammer them in all the way. This isn't a permanent solution. It's just something for the time being to hold it in place. When you start putting poles in this thing, it's going to start catching wind. We'll get this thing finished. So this is a 6-person tent. It's really tall inside. It fits, I'm 6 foot, and I can stand up no problem inside of it. The roof of this tent is made with 2 different poles. If you're unfamiliar with these, I don't know where you've been living under a rock. These are very common poles. These ones are made of metal, or I believe aluminum specifically, but they're pretty beefy. This is a car camping tent, definitely not something you would want to take hiking out. So I made a mistake right here, and I freeze frame. You can see I put the pole in the top section first. That comes back to bite me a little bit later in the video when I'm putting the second pole in. What ends up happening is that bottom pole going underneath the top one gets caught, and it just catches up a little bit. Probably not great for the fabric long term, so when you are doing this, it's worth to pay a little bit of attention to slide in the bottom roof pole first where they cross. I've never seen these plastic things before. These are unique to this tent, at least from my experience, but this is just a little plastic thing. It tells you exactly where to go and gives you the right angle. So we got a close up here. It's gonna say roof and then leg on the other side, and then that little poking out part says eave. That's for your rain fly to go in. So right there, it kind of catches up a little bit as I'm sliding it through. So again, put that bottom pole in first. For the legs, once you get all the poles straightened out, pretty straightforward. It says leg. You're going to put the flat side in, and then the bottom side here is going to have a little extra pole that sticks out. Put that through your grommet. I'm just fixing those stakes, that way this thing doesn't fly away. It was a little bit breezy. You can clip these as you're putting it up, or you can wait till the whole thing's up. It's personal preference. It really doesn't take that long to get those clips on. The second leg here I put in. When I'm doing this, I try to do the side that's downwind first. So whatever way the wind is blowing, basically I want the wind blowing the tent into the ground, not up and away. I don't want the wind catching. This was a pretty easy setup. I didn't really have any issues. Again, I was able to do this all by myself. I believe total time with filming and everything took about 15 minutes, so not a long time to film, or not a long time to set up, rather. So right there I went around and I fixed all of the bottom stakes and got them all fixed. When you're putting your rain fly on, there's color coding across the bottom, so the gray goes to the gray side on the bottom and orange goes to the orange. Just plug and play. I have seen someone say to do this putting the rain fly on before the legs and clipping it, but I didn't want to try and put the legs in underneath. It was easy enough to pull it around like this. The corners are reinforced. I'm a little concerned long term that those corners are going to poke through, but they seemed pretty stable to start with. There is one extra pole that you see right here. This is for the front entrance to hold it up and to get you a little bit out of the rain. By the way, if you are just tuning in, this is Micah with 6-Point Survival. We are on the Emerald Coast of Florida. Look at that beautiful water behind it. This is going to slide in. It has its own slot right here. Slides through pretty easy. And then there's grommets on either side that will show you putting it through. Again, very, very simple setup here. Like I was saying, we're on the Emerald Coast of Florida. We go out and do all kinds of survival activities. We do weekly classes, custom events, online education, and more. If you want to see product reviews, how-to videos, subscribe. Last part of setting it up, this tent has little pouches to put your guidelines in. There's a couple different ways to do this. Personally, I thought these guidelines were pretty long. I think I'll actually end up trimming them to make them a little bit shorter, just so I can have a little bit more of a downward pull on these. Pro tip when you are doing this, put some kind of flagging tape or put a glow stick from your guide wire. When you're walking around at night, it's going to stop you from tripping over them. And that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We always appreciate your shout outs, comments, concerns. See ya.